Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be sewing up the Adventurous mock neck and hoodie pattern. This pattern has a ton of options to include, as the name says, a mock neck, but it's also a hoodie with an asymmetrical line here. My hair is in the light, you can't even see it. Anyway, and it's got thumb holes, it's got option to collar block. It is so cute. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you just how easy it is to sew this version up. All right, friends, we're gonna start by grabbing our bodices. So this is my front bodice, and I'm gonna place it right side up here on my mat or my table. And here's my side where I'm doing that color blocking. So if you're not doing color blocking, you can skip this step, but I am. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this area here where the color blocking starts, and I'm going to find my side, my color block side, and see if I place it right on top like so, you can see that it matches up. So then I'm gonna go ahead and turn it right onto it, and we're gonna sew that together. Now you're gonna notice that you're gonna have like a 1/4 inch hanging out at the bottom, and that's what you want because that's gonna help you match them up really nicely. So I'm gonna match it up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use my preferred stretch stitch to sew it up. And I'm gonna do this for the front and for the back color block pieces. All right, let's go sew that up. All right, once you've sewn that up, you can go ahead and steam this seam, and you can top stitch it if you want. I'm not top stitching it, I'm just leaving it like it is. And I'm gonna move on to my shoulder seam. So I'm gonna grab my front bodice, and then I'm gonna place my back bodice right on top of it, right sides together at the shoulders, and sew those shoulder seams up. Now, while I'm there still, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my sleeves. And if you're doing the color blocking option, we're gonna sew the bottom to our sleeve. Now you may see my sleeve and realize that it's a little bit shorter than some of the other ones. That's because I did not have enough fabric. So I took a little bit off the top section and added it to the bottom section. So my color block bottom is gonna be a little bit longer than the pattern, but that's because I just ran out of fabric. So I had to do something about it. It's just really like 2 inches, really like 1.5 inches that I added to this top, to this bottom piece to compensate for not having enough of my camo fabric. So we're just placing them on top of each other, right sides together. And the side that is supposed to match up should match up evenly here. The bottom won't because it's shorter, because it narrows down. So that's how you'll know that you're attaching the right side to it. So today I am using my serger. I prefer using my serger for knit fabrics, but I get this question a lot. Can I sew a knit fabric pattern with just my sewing machine? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. You just have to use some kind of stretch stitch on your sewing machine or stretch thread. But you can totally do it with your sewing machine. We actually do have a video here on our YouTube channel that shows how I sew a whole top with just my sewing machine. And it shows you different stitches to try and all that stuff like that if you want to check it out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open the arm side, which is where our sleeve is going to be sewn. You can see here's my neckline, here's my arm area. And you need to make sure which one is your front and your back. Your front is the one that goes a little bit lower. Here's my back, because when you go to attach your sleeve, you'll see that you have a front and a back. I marked my sleeve by doing like the little edges, the little zigzag, like the 2 little prongs, making them come out, and I'll eat those when I sew it together. I'll just run right over them. But that helps me to remember that this is the back of my sleeve, this is the front. So since this is the back of my sleeve, if I go to put it on, it's gonna end up on this side. That means this is not the sleeve that belongs on this arm, it belongs on the other one. So I'm gonna grab the other sleeve, and I'm gonna match up first that top mark, right sides together, and then see the little notches here tell me that this is the back. And we're matching right sides together all the way down. And we're gonna do that the same thing on the other sleeve, and then we're gonna sew. Now that my sleeves have been sewn in, we're going to fold them right sides together and sew the side seams. Make sure you match where that color blocking is here on the sleeve. The color blocking seam. You also want to make sure you match the seam right here where the color blocking is on the side. All right, one thing about the hoods is to make sure that you cut them out the right way, because there are mirrored images with each other, but they're different pattern pieces. It can get a little bit confusing on the cutting, so make sure you read all the instructions on how to cut them correctly, because I didn't, and I ended up cutting the wrong fabric. So now I'm gonna use this fabric for my hood because I ran out of my camo fabric. Anyway, so right here where the marks are, we're gonna move on and we're actually going to mark those. Now, if you have lighter fabric, you can do like a water-soluble marker or something like that. My fabric is so dark it won't show up, so I'm just going to mark it with pins. Once those are marked, we're going to go ahead and grab our hoods and place them right sides together here at the outer seam. And we're going to sew that crown together, right sides together. And then I'm going to repeat with the outer hood or the liner hood. Once that's sewn, we're going to match up. See right here where your dot is, we're going to match that up, and we're going to sew them right sides together right here. I'm going to go ahead and use a sewing machine right here and just sew that down. I'm going to do that for both my liner and my outer. So right there. All right, now we're going to turn one of the hoods right side out, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to match them right sides together. Here's the top seam. Here's where we sew that right sides together here, and I'm gonna match that up right here. All right, so now you can see that your hood is right sides together, and you have this little area. So this is where you sewed it up together. This is over here, you have the gap where you're gonna sew it into you're gonna sew that to your neckline on your bodice. This is your hood area all the way around, and this is your asymmetrical hood side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew, I can sew with the serger all the way around, but then when I get right here, I'm probably going to start with a sewing machine and go straight, stop, and then turn. So I can have like a sharp edge here. So I might do like start it, turn, and then go all the way around, because I want to have like a nice square here and a nice edge here. So I'll go maybe like an inch from the edge here and go down, and then turn, pivot, go up to that seam right there and pivot, and then go around about an inch out, and then I'll serge the rest of it. And then if I want to go ahead and finish that serge this edge right here afterwards, I can, but that will give me a nice pointy area here by sewing it with my sewing machine instead of just trying to serge the whole thing. I mean, it's up to you. You can serge the whole thing if you want. You just might not have the really nice crisp corner here. Okay, you see how I have that corner here crispy, and then this crispy corner here too. Then I'm gonna go to my serger and start right here and go all the way around and end right here. Because I want to finish up the raw edge. Now you could do the whole hood with your sewing machine, and that's fine. I just like the finished edges with my serger, so that's why I'm doing that. All right, I want to show you again here how, I don't know if you can see it very well, but see how the stitching goes right along to the serge edge. So they kind of match up here. So when you turn in, you won't have like a little gap there. It just kind of all matches up together. I'm gonna grab my scissors and kind of just trim this little corner here, so that way it turns really nice, and maybe trim a little bit here on my other corner. I did back stitch and everything, so you make sure you want to back stitch so it doesn't come apart later. And then steam the hole around the hood, because you're gonna go ahead and turn it right side out. And here's my asymmetrical hood. Now I don't know which fabric I want to be my outer. You can go ahead and top stitch it if you want, or give it a really nice steam. I might go steam it really nicely. This right here is where you're gonna attach to your bodice. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out if I want my hood to be this way, like the red be my outer. I think that would look nice, or if I want it to be this way. so that yeah, I think I like this better right here. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna turn this back right side, inside out. And all right, here's my neckline. I'm gonna mark my neck, my quarters. I'm gonna match up on my shoulders. I'm gonna go to the back, find my back point. Match up my shoulders, go to the front. Match up my front and back and go to the sides. I like to do a little notch like this. It's not very big. It's less than my seam allowance. So when I sew it on, you don't even see it, but it helps me to know exactly where I have to place my hood and everything. Then now what I want to do is actually, I'm going to go give it a really quick steam. I'm going to grab this area here and I got my front and my back. I'm going to mark my sides. So match the front and back and go to the side seams. And now I'm going to insert my hood, making sure the front, see how the front goes lower? The front where my asymmetrical area is goes in first. I'm matching them right sides together, which means that I'm matching up the right side, that's gonna be this gray, to my bodice. And when you're sewing this, make sure that you're catching this little peak here. So if you want to go baste it on first and then sew it, you can do that. And now we're gonna match up the other quarters, right sides together, all the way around the hood, and then we'll sew it and we'll be done with the hood. That was easy. You know, sometimes we see like something that's a little bit different and you're like, ooh, that's gonna be hard to do, that's difficult. It's not. You can do it. You just take it slowly, one step at a time. Come sew it up with me and we'll do it together, and I'm gonna show you just how easy it is and how you really can do it. All right, then we're gonna go sew that up. We'll work on our thumb holes and hem, and we'll be done. It is coming along and it's looking really good. Let me put this aside and we're gonna work on our cuffs. So I'm doing the thumb hole cuffs. We're gonna grab the cuff and we're gonna fold it right sides together. We're gonna grab our pattern piece and we're gonna mark where all these little lines are. See how it says leave open between marks? We're gonna sew right here, back stitch, start here, back stitch, sew, back stitch, leave, start here, back stitch, sew, back stitch. That's what we're doing. We're gonna do that for both. Leave the space, go down, start, back stitch, go all the way to the next pin. Be careful not to break your needle. Back stitch, needle up, foot, press her foot up, removed it too early. It's okay. It's okay. Let's get the pattern piece. Don't remove it so early like I did. It's okay. We got it right there. Start up, back stitch, back stitch. And now I get to do the same thing on the other one. Start here at the top, back stitch, go to your clip, your pin, back stitch, lift up, move it up, start where your clip is, your pin, move it out of the way so you don't mess up, back stitch, go all the way to your next one. Don't crack your needle by running over it, back stitch, pick up, go to the next area, press our foot down, back stitch, all the way down, back stitch. Easy peasy. All right, so I'm gonna grab my scissors and clip where I left the little thread, because I didn't clip the thread every way. I just went through and kept going. And then I'm gonna open the seam allowance out. Now we've created these thumb holes because the gaps are right here where the thumbs are gonna go when we fold it. So when we fold it wrong sides together, you'll see that here you have those thumb hole areas and your seams are folded in, but they could still open up. So what you can do right here is you can go in and hand stitch it closed right here, or you can try to go to your sewing machine and sew all the way around this if it's going to fit into your arm, your sewing machine arm. Or you could also use like some what is it called, steam a seam or something like that to attach them together. I'm going to try my sewing machine first, and if I can't get it through, then I'm going to hand stitch it. I think that's the best way to do it here. But that's going to be my thumb hole, if you can see that. See that? So cool. I'm going to do the same for the other one. Okay, if I'm going to do it on my sewing machine, I need to remove the bottom side. So I'm just attaching the top, the part with the gaps. You want to be able to see the gap in the middle. Move this out of the way. Turn. Turn. Remove that pin. And there it is. Now I'm going to do the same with the other one. All right, look at how good that looks. Now we're gonna fit that right into our sleeve, matching up right sides together. So I'm gonna kind of clip this, the edge, the half, I guess. Make sure you have the halves on this one as well. They're marked right there with my clips. And I'm gonna match them right sides together. And make sure that your sleeve is not twisted, and you want your thumbs to be on the inside. So I'm matching this up with my thumb being on that seam. I'm gonna do the same for the other one. There we go. Now I'm just gonna hem. So all I'm gonna do is just fold that seam allowance up and hem all the way around the bottom as well. So I'm gonna sew the cuff on, and then I'm gonna go in and hem, and we'll be done. Super excited, it's looking so good. I always struggle when I do color blocking. Not struggle, but I'm always like trying to figure out what fabrics to use that they'll match. And I think this looks really good. I think the reason why, I try to stay with like I guess I shouldn't say, I don't know what the word is, like a theme, like with a, palette, and this was a heathered palette, so it's all heathered together, like it all has the heathered look. There's colors in here that match the colors in the camel. There's colors in the camel that match the gray. So staying in the same color palette helps so much because it kind of makes that even look. All these fabrics are from Olga's Closet. I love every single one of these, and I think it's gonna turn out amazing. I can't wait to show you the final results. All right, we are finished. Was that not an easy sew? I think that sometimes we look at a pattern, we're like, oh my goodness, it's so complicated. There's so many steps, I can't do that. And then you get right into it and you're like, I can. Step by step, I can do this. So I hope this was helpful. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Go grab the pattern if you haven't grabbed it yet. The link is on the description below. Come back and sew it up with me, and let me know in the comments below which option you're going to make first. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!